He has also served as an advisor to the President, National Defense University, Islamabad. I would request Dr. Raza to please deliver his welcome remarks. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Excellencies, and especially Excellency, the High Commissioner of Malaysia, Muhammad Azhar Mazlan. It's a great honor to welcome you and everyone who sits here on this very, very important lecture by a distinguished ambassador hosted by Pakistan in Islamabad. Before coming here, we were discussing about Pakistan and Malaysia's relations. Pakistan and Malaysia have relations which date back to 1957. We've had very good relations with each other, and we have been cooperating with each other at all the forums. Pakistan and Malaysia signed free trade agreement in 2017, and that is progressing very well. Pakistan and Malaysia cooperate in the defense production in the areas of defense. We have had joint exercises, that is naval exercises we have been having. There have been some defense purchases also. But more importantly, today Malaysia stands as one of the leading Muslim countries, progressive countries, well-developed countries, a model, I would say, of consistency in the political system and consistency in growth. I think a model that is to be emulated, and Malaysia stands with Pakistan and all the Muslims in all the matters, whatever is happening around the globe. As IPRI, we have signed MOU, Excellency, with Center for Defense and Strategic Studies in Malaysia, and we are collaborating in research areas also. And as we were discussing during our brief chat in the lounge, IPRI is open with hearts, minds, and soul to cooperate with you and share the data or share any information you need on Afghanistan or any other country, as we were discussing. With these brief remarks, I once again welcome the Excellency and thank you, sir, for being here. Thank you for accepting our invitation. I hand you over back to the MOIC. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. We will now move on to the address by our Honorable Chief Guest, High Commissioner Muhammad Azhar Mazlan. He began his diplomatic career by being appointed to the Administrative and Diplomatic Service of Malaysia and served as an Assistant Secretary to Africa and South Sahara at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs Malaysia from 1994 to 1997. He served as Director, Center for Political Studies and Economic Diplomacy, Institute of Diplomacy and Foreign Relations at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs Malaysia. He has also served as Deputy Director General, Southeast Asia Regional Center for Counterterrorism. His ambassadorial appointments include Mexico, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras. I would now request the Honorable Chief Guest to please address the audience member.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. His Excellency Ambassador Dr. Raza Muhammad, President of Islamabad Policy Research Institute, Excellencies, Ambassadors, former Ambassadors, scholars, students, members of the media, and distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, I'm not used to sitting alone on the stage, actually. Normally, I need someone to flank, or rather, I flank someone. But anyway, I'm really honored, Ambassador Dr. Reza, for your invitation. Like you said, like you rightly said, Malaysia and Pakistan, we go way back, since our independence, Malaysia independence, that is. in 1957, we established our formal diplomatic ties between our two countries. We are very familiar with Pakistanis. They are, helping Malaysia in terms of our development agenda in our country. As we speak, there are many Pakistani diaspora now in Malaysia. And allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to briefly share with you on my insights about relation between Malaysia and Pakistan in the new era. I will break my presentation into few segments. One would be bilateral relations between Malaysia and Pakistan, Malaysia's foreign policies, and then I would talk a bit on ASEAN and its potential. And I would also touch on Malaysia's governance, how Malaysia does our governance. And obviously, economic and trade and investment ties between our two countries, which is very important. And at the end of my presentation, allow me to share some insights on the way forward, relation between Malaysia and Pakistan now and beyond. Ladies and gentlemen, bilateral relation between Malaysia and Pakistan, we have elevated our relations in March 2019, where we term our relationship as a strategic partner. Malaysia and Pakistan, we are a strategic partner. So basically, if you can see in the slide there, we cover many areas of cooperation between our two countries, among which would be trade and investment, people-to-people relation, human resource development, tourism, and defense. Defense, last year we had this 14 joint meeting between our two defense ministries, where we talk about further defense cooperation. Our Secretary General of Defense, Malaysia, came here, met with his counterpart, Secretary of Defense Production. So we had a very good, engagement meeting, a joint commission meeting of the 14 meeting between our two countries. So among which we share our agenda, best practices, and the way forward between our two defense ministries of our two countries. So I would like to show you a picture here. It's very interesting. Both leaders have a similar name, only the different spelling. On your right there, in the screen, is my Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim. And on your left, I think you know better, that's Anwar Kakar. So Ul Haq Kakar. Yeah, but the spelling is different, not the same. But anyway, they had a very interesting meeting in Riyadh on the 11th of November 2023, on the sideline of a special meeting on Gaza by OIC. So they spoke a lot about bilateral, they took stock about our bilateral relations between our two countries, and PM Kakar told me he had a very interesting chat with Anwar Ibrahim, my Prime Minister, because my Prime Minister has quite an in-depth knowledge about Pakistan. He can still remember a bookshop in Peshawar by the name of the bookshop. During his early days, when he was active as activist in the youth movement in Malaysia, he used to visit Peshawar. He used to go to the weapon market in Peshawar. That's what he told me before I came here. So he said, I invited him to come here. I had a courtesy on my Prime Minister prior to coming here. So he was telling me, I have fond memory about Pakistan. I know Pakistan very well. So I said, why don't you come here, Excellency? And then he said, let me settle my domestic matters first. Inshallah, I will come here. I mean, I will come to Pakistan. So he was telling me about the Peshawar, industry. So they had a good meeting, and we wanted to forge a closer relation. We want to move forward. Pakistan, Malaysia, with immense potential. Malaysia is right smack in the middle of Southeast Asia. We have about 33 million population, just to give you a fair idea of how Malaysia is positioning itself in ASEAN. Malaysia has 33 million population, more or less, and Pakistan has 240 million population. And your location is very strategic. Whether you like it or not, you are the regional player here in this part of the world. And Malaysia, as a small nation, also want to be a regional player, and we are a regional player in our part of the world. And the next slide, this photo is interesting. This is our second bilateral consultations between our two countries. This is under Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I think you can recognize on your left there, the photo, Madam Zohra, now the spokesperson of MOFA, and with Amna Baloch, the High Commissioner of Pakistan then. And this is a bilateral consultation. During this consultation meeting, we had discussion on various agenda, defense, tourism, trade and investment, cultural, human resource development, and all-encompassing bilateral spectrum that we had discussion on. So next meeting, the third meeting, would be held here in Pakistan, hopefully this year or the year after, subject to agreement between the two sides. So I just want to show you how robust our relations are between our two countries. So over the years, I think you can easily recognize that picture there. Prime Minister Mahathir at that time, Abdullah Badawi in the middle, and Najib Razak on your right, and again Anwar Ibrahim meeting with Nawaz Sharif, and Badawi, Anwar Ibrahim. Anwar Ibrahim had a telephone conversation with Shehbaz Sharif when Anwar Ibrahim assumed prime ministership. He received a call from Shehbaz Sharif congratulating him on his appointment. So these pictures is very important because leaders' relations. I'm a practitioner. I'm a diplomat. Leaders' relations are very important in terms of cementing relation between countries. Because if we have good chemistry among leaders or between leaders, it's easy for you to conduct bilateral or multilateral matters. So we move on to Malaysia's foreign policies agenda. Basically, you can see there, our foreign policy is very much pragmatic because we are a trading nation. We would like to trade with the rest of the world, apart from only country that we do not recognize now is Israel. We have never and we will never recognize Israel unless and until there is a two-state solution, durable, lasting peace in that part of the world. We have been very consistent in our policy, like Pakistan, in terms of, defending the rights of the Palestinian people. I can still remember when I joined the service, this was back 30 years ago, the situation is still the same. And now we are facing, worst genocide ever experiencing. Over 25,000 Palestinians have been, killed. And in retaliation of over, as Israel claimed, about 1,200 casualties on their part. So this is basically injustice in front of us happening. And we as a global community have to do something. We cannot sit quiet. And I applaud the role played by Pakistan government in this regard, in terms of assisting the people of Palestine. And Malaysia is doing our bit also, trying to assist the people of Palestine. We open our doors for the people of Palestine in terms of their education, in terms of their living. We have a community of Palestine in Malaysia. For example, Islamic University of Malaysia, we have, I think, about close to 200 students under scholarship by the government of Malaysia, and we are looking after them. And just between these two walls, we are also assisting the Embassy of Palestine in terms of their operation in Malaysia. I know Pakistan government is doing the same as well. So the cornerstone of our foreign policy is ASEAN. And I acknowledge the presence of my brother here from ASEAN country, High Commissioner Kamal from Brunei, and my friend from Myanmar. So thank you for your presence. You give me, encouragement to stand in front of distinguished guests here to speak in front of you. So I think basically that is the foreign policy of Malaysia. And we move on to ASEAN and its potential. ASEAN has about 670 million population base. 670 young population base. Pakistan has about 240 million population base. If you see the map of ASEAN, Malaysia is right smack in the middle of ASEAN. So in ASEAN, we have free trade agreement between our ASEAN countries. So this is where Pakistan entities, business people, or trade and investment can leverage on this, ASEAN. Malaysia, as one of the founding members of ASEAN, we are committed to advance our ties with Pakistan within the ambit of Pakistan being sectoral dialogue partner. And you can see point number 3 there. ASEAN is now ranked the 5th largest economy globally, combined, $3 trillion. And we are forecasted to be on the 4th spot by the year 2050. And according to the World Bank, by the year 2050, Pakistan should be or will be the 16th largest economy in the world. So they are, these are all the positive information that we are having. And what needs to be done is we have to pull our resources together to reach to that target. We cannot simply talk about potential, but without doing anything, by squabbling among each other, We have to put on paper the policy, and we have to follow through with that policy. I'm talking from the experience of my country. Since our independence, we have created a policy of good governance, what we call a Malaysia Plan. Every 5 years, we will review the plan. And since independence, that plan has been carried through until today. We have now Malaysia Plan number 12 for the next 5 years. So these are the things that I would like to share with you in terms of our development agenda that we have gone through. And luckily for Malaysia, this is my personal opinion, we are lucky to have been given the right leaders at the right time. During our independence, we have a very gentleman kind of leader, Tuanku Abdul Rahman. He went to London to negotiate with the British to give independence to our country, and independence was given on a silver platter, without having to go through war, without having to go through carrying arms. So the British left Malaysia in a good state, good buildings, good system. And what we need to do is just to follow through whatever agenda that the British has laid down at that time. But mind you, at that time, we had 3 different races there, major races, the indigenous Malay, and then we have the Chinese, brought over by the British from southern part of China to work in the mining industry. Malaysia used to mine a lot of tin mining, and the Indian people, they were brought from Kerala to work in the rubber plantation. So we are very familiar. This is why we coined Malaysia is truly Asia. You don't need to go to China, you don't need to go to India. You come to Malaysia, everything is there. So this has been a good, promotional slogan for our country. Malaysia is truly Asia. So the British at that time, they had this divide and rule concept. Malay in the village, the Chinese in the tin mining area, in the city area. The Indians, they are in the rubber plantation. We were not integrated. We do not understand each other. That was why in 1969, 13 May 1969, we had a racial riot. People started to, kill each other at that time over some political, grouses that they were not happy about. The Chinese not happy about certain things. The Malay were not happy about certain things. The Malay, being the people of the land, had given so much concession to these migrant people. So these are the things, the dynamics at that time. And what we had to do at that time, we had to create affirmative action policy, new economic policy. What we found out at that time, there was huge disparity of income between these 3 major races. The Malays, we were not educated, we were left in the village, and then our public services were not good, no hospital, no school. The Indians were more in the plantation. They were, downtrodden, living, hand-to-mouth kind of daily, sustenance. And the Chinese, they had all the benefit because they were in the city area at that time. They had good school, good university, good hospitals, things like that. So this new economic policy is our attempt to do a social re-engineering of our country. And it worked well in our favor. Until now, there was no riot, big riot in Malaysia after 1969. We were able to contain, and of course, the pendulum is not easy to maintain. We had to maintain tolerance, harmony, and peaceful coexistence among our races in our country. During that time, in the 60s, many countries, or rather the British, counted Malaysia as a failed state after the riot. They say we cannot move on, we cannot progress. But we proved them wrong by having this kind of nationalist fervor, trying to integrate all the community in Malaysia. And in my opinion, we were successful to a certain extent. We have not able to create, equal economic potential at the moment. Still, the Chinese hold, I think, about 30-40% of our economy. So this thing is still ongoing. So these are the things that I would like to share with you. So on ASEAN, I've been going around with my ASEAN counterparts here, talking about ASEAN, importance of ASEAN with Pakistan. And we want Pakistan also to progress and prosper like ASEAN. Because you have your own dynamics here. Your regional grouping is not moving, whether we like it or not. But I think there is hope, depending on how you look at it, in terms of your, South Asia regional grouping. Because this issue is uniquely Pakistan and the surrounding countries, situation. So let me talk about this program, Malaysia Technical Cooperation Program. This is similar to US aid, similar to COICA, similar to JICA, Japanese International Cooperation Agency. So this MTCP, Malaysian Technical Cooperation Program, has been in existence since 1980. It was mooted by Mahathir Mohamad to assist, or rather to share development experience with developing countries, the South developing countries, South-South cooperation. So until now, about 700 plus, close to 800 Pakistani officials have benefited from this program, comprising areas of Islamic tourism, anti-corruption, counter-terrorism, palm oil industry, Islamic finance, technical training, and halal industry, among others. So we have trained about 800 Pakistani participants so far. And this program has been one of our foreign policy tools in terms of advancing our agenda as, soft power diplomacy for Malaysia. And to date, we have trained about 34,000 participants since 1980 in various areas. Participants coming from Latin America, from Africa, from Central Asia. You know, from Central Asia, we have trained even their now foreign minister. He attended this course at our Institute of Diplomacy and Foreign Relations. And when we saw him back, he said, I attended this program in Malaysia as a young diplomat. And now he is the foreign minister of Uzbekistan. So the affinity, the soft spot is always there. And this is the unique thing about the tangible result of this program. And let me touch on our governance now. Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim now introduced this concept of Malaysia Madani, meaning inclusivity. So basically this concept prioritizes sustainability, care, compassion, respect, innovation, prosperity, and trust. This is what we want Malaysia to be known as in Malaysia and in the eyes of the world. We want to be inclusive, we want to share our prosperity, and we want to be fair to all. This is why we are really, quote-unquote, angry with what is happening now in Palestine. Since those days, we've been telling the international community to resolve this, crisis, and yet still unresolved. So basically, Malaysia, in the next 10 years, we want Malaysia to be the top 30th largest economy in the world. Malaysia to be ranked number 12 of the Global Competitiveness Index, to increase our labor income to 45%, and this is important, to increase our female participation in the labor force to 60%, and Malaysia to be ranked top 25 in the Human Development Index, and to improve our Corruption Perception Index to be among the top 25 corruption-free country. Not corruption-full country. We have problem with corruption, actually. If you see the news recently, there was this UK blogger. They were driving from the airport to the town center in Kuala Lumpur, stopped by one policeman or couple of traffic police, and this policeman was asking money, cooperation rather than corruption. I think you know that here. My friend has been telling, my Pakistani friend, been telling me, this is not corruption, this is cooperation. Is it true? But anyway, we can leave it at that. And we want to reduce our deficit to 3% or lower. Okay, this is important between our two countries. Among the important agenda for me here and my team at the High Commission is to create an enabling environment for economic and trade between our two countries. And Pakistan is the third largest trading partner for Malaysia in this region. We registered about 1.8 billion US dollar trade in 2022. And I think we can go beyond that, given the potential that Pakistan has. But potential alone, just by talking without doing anything, would not translate into anything. Opportunities are there in Pakistan. You have about 60% of your economic share in the agriculture sector. I think you can be agriculture powerhouse in this region. That is important, you see. You have fertile land, you have the people. You have your own people. That is the biggest asset that you have. In Malaysia, 80%, we rely 80% of our development on the foreign labor. And because of that, cost of items, whatever we produce, is going up because of we reliance on foreign labor. In your case, you don't need foreign labor. You have your own people. In Punjab, Sindh, Balochistan, you can mobilize your own people. So this is the asset that you have, that you should to turn it into opportunities rather than just to let it remain as potential. And what we can envisage now in Pakistan and Malaysia in terms of our relation is that we want to do more trading in palm oil between our two countries. And we want to have a halal industry production between our two countries. Halal industry is 3 trillion US dollar industry per year. And Pakistan can position itself easily to meet that demand all over the world. In Russia, one of the largest minority population, Muslim, in Russia, in China. And this you can leverage. You go to F6 Markas, you can see a lot of Chinese restaurants. So you talk about CPAT, and these are the soft, diplomacy that you can create in terms of an advantage that you have in Pakistan. And on trade, I reckon what we can do is we need to have trust between our two countries. I'm talking about the business people. I've been going around meeting with the chambers here. And unfortunately, for Malaysian business people, they see Pakistan from the angle of perception and reality. We have to convince them this country is safe. There's no issue of security. Only certain part of the country. It's the same anywhere in the world. You go to certain part of the world in Latin America, for example, those places are not safe. They have drug lords, they have a cartel and things like that. Here you have pockets of terrorism activity, yes, that you cannot deny. But the rest, Islamabad, Rawalpindi, Karachi, you can do trade, you can invest here easily. And the thing is, we need to counter this perception by telling them the reality on the ground. What is Pakistan actually has to offer. So what I told business people from Malaysia, they came here. They went to Lahore, they went to Sialkot. In fact, now we are buying surgical equipment from Sialkot. And we found out the same quality of surgical knife or scissor, when they bought in Germany, the price is 3 or 4 times more. And the same thing, same quality, you can get it from Sialkot. And these Sialkot business people, they supply to the Germany chain. So why we want to go to Germany? Better we buy from Sialkot direct. So they are doing that now. And interestingly, Sialkot has a lot of things to offer. not only to Malaysia market, but to ASEAN market. Soccer, for example, the football. Football is number one sport in Malaysia. And the gear, the sporting gears, they produce that in Sialkot. So these are the things that our business people need to go and get and buy from Pakistan. Because unfortunately, the trade volume between our two countries tilted towards Malaysia. 3/4 of our trade volume is in Malaysia's favor, meaning 1.2, 1.3 billion US dollar of the trade volume in 2022 to the advantage of Malaysia, 1.2 billion. And Pakistan only about, 0.4 billion. So what I wanted to say is that there is a way for us to balance our trade, disparity. So, like rightly pointed out by Ambassador Raza just now, we signed our FTA in 2008, and this was the first FTA between Muslim countries. And so much so, our trade volume after the signing of this FTA went up, and Malaysia at that time was the first, or rather number one in terms of palm oil supplier to Pakistan at that time. But now the scenario is not the same anymore. We are now number two behind Indonesia. So this Malaysia, can you come back? There. Malaysia investment. Okay. I just want to show to you our investment in Pakistan. We are in the energy sector. We are in township construction sector. We are in telecommunication. We operate the telecommunication tower here in Pakistan, and in the banking sector as well. And we also have our investment in motor industry. If you can see the Proton car on Pakistan motorway or GT road, that car made in Malaysia, Proton. Al-Haj is our partner here under Proton Pakistan. They are the local assembler and dealer. So moving on, Pakistan investment in Malaysia. So those are the companies mainly in oil industry, textile, and I was told they are also in furniture industry in Malaysia. Because Pakistanis, they are very good in terms of, artisan, doing the furniture, particularly people from KPK. They are now in Malaysia, southern part of Malaysia. And palm oil trade, I just want to show to you the palm oil trade between Malaysia and Pakistan. Pakistan is the 7th largest buyer of Malaysia palm oil in the world. That is big. And we value Pakistani market very, very much. And we want to do more in terms of our trade on palm oil with Pakistan. Somehow or rather, palm oil that came here, they turn it into banaspati, because you are not familiar with palm oil. But if you Google, palm oil has good attribute, good for your heart, good for your health, and is unsaturated oil. So these are the things that we want to create some kind of awareness among the Pakistani consumer. Basically, palm oil is good for your health. It's not saturated fat. So these are the things that we are going all over the world, trying to convince the consumer. China is one of our largest market. India is one of our largest market. The European Union is one of our largest market. You go to McDonald's all over the world, they use palm oil to cook their French fries. because of the, what they call that? Smoke point. Smoke point that can retain the heat at high temperature, and that can be reused 2 or 3 times more. So McDonald's, Hardee's, Burger King, they use palm oil, industrial cooking. So next time, I do not know if the McDonald's manager would allow you to go to their kitchen or not, but they're using palm oil. And halal industry, I already mentioned about halal industry earlier. And Pakistan is one of the largest producer of milk and poultry products. You know, during the COVID-19, we had a food security issue in Malaysia. Not enough beef, not enough chicken. We had to import. Where we import it from? From Brazil. As far as Brazil, the chicken meat. From New Zealand, from Australia, that is our traditional source of meat. And now recently, we managed to bring Pakistani meat to Malaysia market. Just last year, we introduced Pakistani meat under the Fauci Group and our collaboration with another Malaysian company, bringing in Pakistani organic meat into Malaysia market. So basically, new things, people are very wary, cautious, whether it's good or not, price is a bit slightly higher, things like that. So they are doing their promotional effort now in terms of promoting Pakistani meat in Malaysia. And I think you all are very much aware that halal industry doesn't mean food item only. You know, for ladies, you use your foundation, your lipstick, it has to be halal. It cannot come from, you know, animal base that is not halal, something like that. So in Malaysia, we have halal cosmetic. And this halal cosmetic is a very huge industry in Malaysia. You know, the influencer in Malaysia, the artists that appear on the television, the singers, they are all promoting halal cosmetic product. And some of them have become millionaires by selling these cosmetic items, by opening up, you know, like Mary Kay cosmetic product, but our local, you know, name. And they are doing well in life, jetting around the world, having a big sports car, big houses. And these are the true story that I'm telling you. So for ladies who are into cosmetic, these are the industry that you want to look at. This is the one that you can, you know, try to introduce in Pakistan. Local, small, medium-sized industry for Pakistan. Taking all the advantage of your herbs from the Himalayan range and all that, create some sort of a cosmetic product, and it can be done through science and technology. So these are the things that you need to pull your resources together and make Pakistan, you know, the hub of halal industry for this region. And Malaysia can assist you in this. Chocolate, for example, we can turn chocolate from palm oil, halal chocolate, instead of having an animal-based chocolate. So, okay, we go to human resource cooperation. After halal industry, Pakistan is one of the source countries for foreign workers in Malaysia. To date, we have about 50,000 Pakistani working in Malaysia. 50,000 is not a small number. You go to KPK, you go to Punjab, you go to Sindh, their families from here have connection with Malaysia. You know, I went to Buner in Swat Valley. Buner has one of the largest population that have connection with Malaysia. The Bunerians, they speak Bahasa Malaysia, they speak my language. And when I went there, about 500 of them came to the hall to come and meet me, and they have issues with passport, things like that. So much so, I can say that Buner, it feels like mini Malaysia, you know, with the tradition, with the food that they eat there and all that. So they have close affection, affinity still with Malaysia. The island of Borneo, there is a state, Sabah, and Sarawak. In Sabah, there are many people from Bunir working in Sabah. Their family are still there in Sabah. So these are the commonalities, affinity that we have between Malaysia and Pakistan. And actually the number of Pakistani diaspora in Malaysia can be easily 100,000 now. So I move on to educational pursuit. Malaysia, we aim to be an international higher education hub. So far we have about 5,000 Pakistani students studying in Malaysia. It used to be more than 10,000 or close to 15,000 before the COVID. When the COVID came, many students left, came back to Pakistan. But now we have about 5,000 enrolled in our educational institute. So Malaysia, the unique thing about Malaysia is, if you can see the slide there, next please. Okay, we have world-class universities. We have Nottingham, we have Monash. Nottingham is from the UK. Monash is from Australia. We have Reading from the UK. We have Lancaster-based university in Malaysia. Lancaster is near to Scotland in North UK. So we have world-class universities and affordability. PKR ringgit is affordable, you know, as opposed to PKR and pound sterling, as opposed to PKR and US dollar. Sometimes 300 PKR, 1 US dollar. Now the projection is about 330 by middle of this year. That is a bit, you know, worrying. But anyway, affordability. You can buy prata bread for only 1 ringgit, 2 ringgit. How much is that in PKR? 60 PKR, 1 meal, you know. And English is widely spoken because of, well, we can thank to our colonial master, I suppose. We all can speak English. Okay, and modern and progressive. You can see Kuala Lumpur has developed. I think there's one blogger recently I saw in the TikTok or YouTube. She was very amazed that Kuala Lumpur has so many skyrise, so many, something like Hong Kong. She could not believe her eyes on seeing this skyrise in Kuala Lumpur. So multicultural society. We have Punjabi there in Malaysia, Punjabi, you know. We are not familiar with your prata, you know, all your cuisine. In Kuala Lumpur, there is one street where you can find all the Pakistani food. Right in the middle of Kuala Lumpur. Jalan Tuanku Abdul Rahman, name of our former first Prime Minister. You can find barbecue night also in Malaysia. And Monal is planning to open their outlet in Malaysia. Luqman Monal, I think you know him, right? He's planning to open his restaurant in the middle of Golden Gate, Golden Triangle in Malaysia. There is a prime area. And, well, multicultural society, we are familiar with Pakistani food, custom, tradition, mosque. During iftar, during Ramadan, we have iftar in every mosque that we can name of. You know, so much so that we don't need to cook at home during iftar in Malaysia. You just go to different mosques, if you like, in Kuala Lumpur, and the people will serve you iftar, regardless of where you come from. So this is a unique culture that we have. Small mosques also have iftar, because Malaysian, during Ramadan, we are taught to give to the poor people, and you get more deeds if you serve, you know, people who are fasting. When they break their fast, you serve them food. So this has been in our mind since we were young, to serve food, even to stranger. And during Eid Mubarak, I think the unique thing about Malaysia, during Eid Mubarak, we open our house to strangers, to tourists. At the king level also, our king, our leaders, prime minister will have open house, and 10,000, 20,000 will come from 8, or rather from 10 in the morning until 10 at night. You know, Mahathir Mohamad, he used to say, my hand was full of blisters because shaking hand with almost 10,000 people standing and shaking hand. I have to take my hat off him. He's very good in terms of taking care of his health. You know, he's already now 98, still alert, still can, you know, go around and give speeches. He's very good in taking care. I think he is one of the unique person in life. God has given him that kind of strength and health, you know. Now he's already 98. So, dynamic lifestyle, of course, and we are ranked third as the most peaceful country in Asia. And you can see the crime index in Malaysia. You can Google it. Our crime index is very low. And I think our uniform service, I think one of the, I'm not trying to praise Malaysia police, but if you have some cases, normally our police will be able to resolve the case within a short span of time. They would easily, because they have this, I think you have it here also, plain cloth police that mingle with the society, so they know what is going on. If you have cases, murder cases, robbery cases, normally it can be resolved quickly by our police. So this is why we are ranked one of the top 3 most peaceful country in Asia. And of course, our strategic location, right in the middle of Southeast Asia. We are near to Brunei by how many hours, Pak? Come on, 3 hours by flight? 3 hours by flight. We speak the same language. We eat the same food. And to Myanmar is about how many hours, sir? See, 3.5 hours. So we are right in the middle of Southeast Asia. And of course, Malaysia have many, engagement with our fellow Bruneians. We have many engagement with our former, or rather with our Myanmar brother here. And this is unique thing about ASEAN, solidarity as one community. So these are the top universities in Malaysia, public university. This is basically local university, not international. And some of Pakistani students, they have graduated from Malaysia University holding a PhD under sponsorship by Malaysian government. I met some of them here in Pakistan and they are doing well. They have their own business. They have their own consultant companies, things like that. So now we move on to tourism and travel. So as you know, those who have been to Malaysia would know we can offer you sun, beach, and mountains, and resort, and shopping, of course. So this tourism industry in Malaysia, it doesn't happen overnight. We created Malaysia as truly Asia since 1980s. We pump in a lot of money, billions of dollars. When we first launched Visit Malaysia year, I remember it was in the mid-80s, we spent a lot of money in terms of promotion and in terms of building the infrastructure. It's no point of you calling in people to come to your house with no place to sleep, no place to sit, no place to drink, no place to eat. The convenience of being tourists. And my officer was telling, businessmen are there also tourists. When businessmen come, they become tourists. And they come back, they have their networking, they will tell the whole world, look, Pakistan is nice, blah, 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 nice food, nice people. But I want to put this on record. Pakistani have one of the warmest heart in the world. Put this on record. Because I've been to many parts of the world. I can feel the warmth here, not the weather, but the people. Because I've been to KPK, I went with my immigration attaché hiking here and there. We met the Hazara community. They're very warm. Come, let's have chai together, blah, blah, blah. Sit down together in front of the, fire and blah, and, things like that. This is unique to Pakistani. You would not find this in many parts of the world. And this has to be amplified in terms of bringing in more tourist dollar. But I know because of the country is big, 240 million people, about 90% of your tourists, local tourists. But that must not stop you from bringing in tourist dollar from outside. And what needs to be done is to cooperate with international players and also the local business people. They have to have confidence in their own country. This is what Malaysia is trying to do, to consolidate our asset abroad, to invest in Malaysia, rather than businessmen taking their money out, PKR out, investing in Middle East, investing in the UK. So these are the things that needs to be done. How do you do it? Through sound policy agenda. So now we have 3 times weekly flight from Lahore and Karachi. And we hope soon KL Islamabad return. Now PIA is flying KL Islamabad. And we want to have Malaysian airline also to fly KL Islamabad. And in 2023, about 60,000 Pakistani visited Malaysia. And I did talk about diaspora earlier. So diaspora Pakistani have been assisting in our development agenda, and I would like to recognize that. We appreciate their role in terms of filling in the employment sector in Malaysia, which is not enough by our own local people. We have about 12 to 13 countries that we import foreign workers from Nepal, from Bangladesh, from Indonesia, from Thailand, and we have from Myanmar as well, coming to Malaysia and work. And many of them found Malaysia to be peaceful, and they remit their money back to their family here in Pakistan. I met many Pakistani diaspora in Malaysia, and they are doing well. And I did talk about Bunair earlier, and second last slide would be our governance practice. So those are Malaysia governance policy, national transformation program, anti-corruption efforts. Corruption is a problem also in Malaysia. At the highest level also you can find corruption happen in Malaysia. We even put our Prime Minister our former Prime Minister in prison because of corruption. So it is a very big agenda for the present government in combating corruption practices in Malaysia. And digital transformation is also important. We talk about artificial intelligence. We talk about e-commerce. We learn about e-commerce during COVID time. You don't need to go to the store to buy items, like how you can buy from Daras here. We have our own local company in Malaysia. We collaborated with Alibaba, China. Alibaba has a hub in Malaysia in terms of disseminating all the products in the region. So we are doing well with Alibaba investment in Malaysia. And civil service reform. Civil service has to remain relevant to serve the people instead of serving themselves. So this is the agenda that we have been carrying through. When you go to the government department, you cannot see people talking, drinking coffee, or counter is not manned. So this is what we want to inculcate in the culture of the civil service in Malaysia. They cannot, just come to the office, think about doing nothing, 9 to 5, clock in and go home. They have to serve the people because taxpayer money, the salary that they earn comes from taxpayer money. This is what we are trying to tell our civil servants in Malaysia, an open government concept. So those are the things that we try to introduce. And our development policy I mentioned earlier, RMK means Malaysia Plan 1 to 12. Now is Malaysia Plan 12. Environmental sustainability, that is very important for Pakistan as well. Climate change, the effect of flooding, blah, 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 that you had a couple of years back, and technological advancement, social re-engineering. We want Malaysians to think that they are one people rather than segmented society. This has been inculcated in our minds since little, since in kindergarten. Since, when you go to kindergarten in Malaysia, there is a moral class that we talk about tolerance, understanding. Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism, Christianity, all those kind of things. And our young generation, they are very much aware about being tolerant and understanding. And economic empowerment, of course. So now, this will be the last slide. Actually, thank you for your indulgence. The way forward, Malaysia-Pakistan. We want to elevate the existing strategic partnership. We want to do more with Pakistan. And as ambassador or high commissioner of Malaysia here, I want to forge a closer relation between our leaders. Maybe, inshallah, after the 8th of February, you would have formed new government. And we will want to engage with the new leaders, regardless who comes into power. Malaysia would always respect Pakistan as a valued partner in this part of the world. We value our relation with Pakistan, and we want to forge closer relation between government to government and people to people. And this is what we want to do. And climate change and renewable energy. In Malaysia, if you know Petronas Twin Towers, that belongs to our petroleum company. And if you know Putrajaya, Putrajaya was developed by Petronas, our oil company. And Petronas has operation in more than 30 countries in the world. They are in Sudan, they are in Turkmenistan, they are in Kazakhstan. They invested heavily in Turkmenistan, about $10 billion. They were there since 30 years ago. And not only investment, it's win-win situation. They took the Turkmen student to Malaysia on scholarship, trained them to become engineers. Turkmen student went back to Turkmenistan, worked as engineer with Petronas. So this is the effort done by our Petronas petroleum company. In terms of long-term investment, mutual win-win situation. We don't extract minerals, oil from Turkmenistan without giving them back. So this is the agenda of Petronas. It's one of the top 500 Forbes company in the world. And Petronas has been a wonder for Malaysia. They even sponsored F1 race. Lewis Hamilton, if you follow F1, Lewis Hamilton is sponsored by Petronas. So this is R&D, F1 engine. I didn't know F1 engine can only be used by only once during the race. Until I met Lewis Hamilton in Petronas Tower during those days, they were telling me about the mechanics of the engines and all that. So these are the things that we want to learn from the developed part of the world and bring back the technology to Malaysia. Malaysia is part of Belt Road Initiative as well. You call it CPAT here. We have our agenda with the Chinese government as well in terms of investment. And we are trying to build a high-speed rail from Singapore right up to China border. So this is a huge project, and we are looking into that now. And Chinese companies invested in Malaysia. They built some high-rise in Malaysia. They are in Malaysia. You know, I went to the TRX building, one of the highest building, new building in Malaysia. I went inside the construction site, and what I found inside there, even Chinese cook they brought from China to give meal, Chinese food to the workers working to build the high-rise. So we are very open, provided you follow the law and things like that. We invite all investors to come to Malaysia. So evolution, high-tech and high-end industry, that's the niche area that we are talking about. In Malaysia, we invited Boeing, Rolls-Royce to come and invest in Malaysia under modified, repair, rebuild and operate jet engines, commercial jet engines. We don't have the capacity to MRO, defense or jet fighters, unlike Pakistan, but we are more on commercial jet engines. So I mentioned about Pakistan becoming agriculture powerhouse. We can assist each other in terms of making this a reality by tapping the market of Middle East, the region, because you have so much land. You are 6-7 times larger than Malaysia. And you have the labor, the people. And you are agriculture-based society, country. So government policies, reform and reduce corruption, that is high on our agenda. And the ultimate goal would be for Malaysia, Pakistan, shared prosperity and inclusive regional growth. So that would be my take on how we should see our relation. There are tremendous, before I leave I will say this, there are tremendous opportunities here in Pakistan. Allow me to say this with all sincerity. There are tremendous potential here, but you cannot just leave it as potential. You have to do something about it. While people are already running, people are already building electric vehicles, you cannot still using the, the donkey cart by, pulling your products. You have to move forward. So Malaysia is here to assist, to work, to collaborate, to share our experience. We are not 100% good. We learn from our neighbors. We learn from Pakistan as well. There are things that you are good at. Defense production. I take my hat off. Defense production. I went to Taxila. I went to see your production. How you build the tanks from scratch. How you build the weapons and all that. How the people in the remote area of KPK, they can produce guns, AK-47, from scratch. So obviously there is talent. And my officer was telling, you build bus from scratch. In Peshawar, I didn't know that. He saw in the YouTube. You brought the axle, brought the body, the engine from scratch. And the bus is, running now on your highway. So big talent that you have. So translate this into opportunities, something legitimate for the people of Pakistan. Because whether we like it or not, life is a cycle. We come and go. We are not going to live forever. We owe it to our generation to come, for them to prosper and for them to pass down. And on that, I close my talk this morning. I can only say this, Malaysia, Pakistan, Dosti Zindabad. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for such an in-depth analysis and highlighting the possible avenues for mutual benefit. We will move on towards the question-answer session now. I would request the audience members to please state your name before asking the questions and keep your questions brief and short so we can have maximum number of questions. So we can start the question answers now. Sir.
Excellency, this is Shams Abbasi. I'm an economic journalist. I have two questions. First, would we need to renegotiate the free trade agreement because accordingly it's still, I think so, we can say not enhance our trade like Indonesia is more beneficiary, I think so, as like we did in Pak-China FTA. The second question is how Malaysia support Pakistan to achieve the dialogue partner in ASEAN.
Number one, okay. Number one, on FTA, we are already in communication with our Ministry of Investment and International Trade, and we are looking into the prospect of having a joint trade commission meeting between our two countries. So the FTA is still in place. What it needs to be done now is to take the low-hanging fruits first. For example, importation of basmati rice, importation of fruit items, agriculture product to Malaysia, and textile product from here to Malaysia. So basically what I'm saying is we are moving towards that direction because we had meetings with the former Commerce Minister, advisor at that time, Daud Razak. So I was in the meeting with him at that time. So we tried to, that was before the COVID. And then came the COVID and then things got, stopped. And we are reviving that. So hopefully, inshallah, we are looking to that. And for your information, probably there would be a high-level visit from Malaysia coming in this year to Islamabad, and we will explore the avenue of enhanced trade relation between the two countries over and above FTA. And number two, on ASEAN, on paper, Malaysia support Pakistan to become full dialogue partner. But there is a moratorium now by ASEAN not accepting a new dialogue partner. So unless and until ASEAN lifted that moratorium, Pakistan would get Malaysia support on that context. Thank you.
We have a question at the front, please.
Assalamu alaikum, Ambassador. This is Ambassador Sajjad speaking. You very rightly pointed out that Malaysia has got very good leadership, and Mahathir Mohamad, obviously, he is considered to be a statesman, and his statements related to genocide in Gaza. And if I recall properly, he was very vocal when he was in power on the issue between Pakistan and India on Kashmir. And probably that has created a lot of anxiety in Indian press. And because of this reason, they pointed out that India would reconsider importing palm oil from Malaysia. My question is this one, that is palm oil between Pakistan and your country, as well as palm oil import from Indonesia. Because Pakistan signed PTA with Indonesia probably in 2014. So do you think that within intra-ASEAN that created some type of anxiety between Malaysia and Indonesia, that is regarding about export of palm oil, because Pakistan is the second largest palm oil importer in Asia? That is one question. Do you consider that Malaysia to become again largest palm oil exporter to Pakistan? The other thing is, how about that is ASEAN relationship amongst all these countries, and because Myanmar colleague is also present, that is Rohingyas, your relationship between Myanmar and Malaysia. Thank you.
It's really a loaded question. I have to. Anyway, well, we treat each and individual country within the context of shared prosperity. We value our relation with Pakistan. At the same time, we also value our relation with India. As you rightly pointed out, Mahathir made a statement that was at the UNGA in September on Kashmir, and he created some sort of a big issue in India at that time. And there was this move to boycott our product and so on. But after that, because of maturity, maturity plays a role here in terms of relation between Malaysia and India. We were able to put that under the bridge. We able to move forward. Because I was also, before I came here, I also look after India. So I was in the meeting. I was right smack in the meeting between the leaders of our two countries. So we were able to bury the hatchet and move on. And again, the word is maturity in terms of the general perspective, spectrum of relation between our two countries. I'm talking about Malaysia and India. So after Mahathir left power, came Mahyuddin Yassin, came Ismail Sabri, and now came Anwar Ibrahim. So now relation with India is on equal footing, is on a progressive mode. We don't have any issues anymore. And India is one of the top 3 importers of our palm oil. And coming back to Pakistan, what was your second question again? On
FTA between
okay.
and Indonesia.
You were talking about palm oil industry, right? Indonesia, Malaysia. Indonesia has a bigger land mass. Indonesia, 270 million population, the biggest Muslim population in the world. They have labor force, they have land. That's why they are now number 1 in terms of palm oil. No doubt Malaysia is also there, number 2, but we cannot compete with Indonesia in terms of their size, in terms of their capacity. Malaysia, like I said in my presentation, rely heavily on foreign laborers. 80% of our laborers, services sector are from foreign imported source country, 13 different countries. So because of that dynamics, Malaysia is not really aspiring to be the number 1 producer of palm oil, but we are on equal footing in terms of our products. What we are championing now is sustainability. We are looking at deforestation issue with the EU, ecosystem and things like that. So once you have that label recognized by the EU, international standards, Malaysia palm oil will be different in terms of its standing at the international level. But we are cooperating with Indonesia. Our companies, big companies, now they are investing in Indonesia. You're talking about KL Kepong, you are talking about FGV. They have their land bank, if you like, in Indonesia. And we are producing palm oil from the Indonesian soil and exporting it to the world. But of course, it comes from Indonesia, but with investment of Malaysian companies. And on the FTA thing, I think, of course, there is benefit for Indonesia. And we are intra-trade. ASEAN, we have no problem, actually. We are trying to forge a better intra-trade relation among the 10 member ASEAN countries. And on the issue of Rohingya, like how you see, your constructive engagement with Afghanistan, we have no problem with Myanmar at political level. We want to engage Myanmar, constructive engagement. Whatever that we can share with Myanmar in terms of democratization, we want to share with Myanmar. But you have to remember, at the end of the day, the will of the Myanmarese people, that is important. Because Myanmar is a sovereign country. We have no right of telling them what to do. What we want to do is to share our experience for Myanmar to open up and to see progress, prosperity, and growth within the context of their own people. That is Myanmar, right, the sovereign right of the Myanmarese people to decide their own future. But ASEAN as a bloc, we are helping Myanmar as well. We are not cutting or rather closing our door on Myanmar. We have our investment in Myanmar, Malaysian companies. I do not know whether you know Mary Brown or not. Mary Brown is like a KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken. We have our operation in Myanmar. We have our banks in Myanmar, Islamic banking in Myanmar. I've been to Yangon, I've been to Naypyidaw. They are very generous people, very open people, and we need to show to the Myanmarese people the alternative of what they are having now. So, but at the end of the day, mind you, it's the Myanmarese people that have the will to decide on their own. The will of the Myanmarese people themselves. So that is my my answer to your question on Myanmar.
Right, Your Excellency, Malaysia has a very impressive record of controlling the religious extremism and media as well. I was in Malaysia and I was tremendously impressed the way government was controlling even the khutbahs in the mosque. So perhaps there are some lessons that you can share for Pakistan here. Then you mentioned, secondly, you mentioned BRI. Are there any problems of late between China and Malaysia by way of cancellation of some contracts?
Okay.
Your take on that.
If you allow me, I answer the second question first. BRI, we don't have any issues, but the position of our government is very clear. Whatever investment Chinese, Americans, Japanese want to do in our country, it has to be win-win situation. Technology transfer, learning for our own people on technical know-how. We do not want people from abroad, foreigner, come to Malaysia and get whatever they want and they leave. This is our principle, overarching principle in any agreement that we sign with foreign entity. Likewise, we were looking at the cost benefit analysis of having this high-speed rail from Singapore, Johor, southern part of Malaysia, right up to the heart of Peninsula Malaysia until Thailand. So the issue here was more of costing, technology transfer, and we are looking into it. There's no issue of we not wanting to pursue this development program under the BRI. But under BRI, we have created an area in eastern coast of Malaysia, in the state of Pahang, Kuantan. There is a port there. So this port is supposed to link the eastern part of Peninsula Malaysia to the western side of Malaysia through a rail network. And we are doing that now. We have already, dug the tunnel. So now the time from Kuantan to Klang is the western port, Kuantan eastern port. Kuantan to Klang will be reduced to only 2 hours by train. So that is ongoing now, the project. That is under BRI with Chinese investment as well. So on the question of terrorism, this is a very interesting question. Extremism. Terrorism, extremism. I do not know whether we can equate the same or not, but thank you, sir.
An extremist,
You're helping me there.
an extremist when he wants to impose himself.
Okay.
to come to terrorism.
You see, the very core of our counter-terrorism effort is to win the hearts and minds of the people. Malaysia was under terrorism attack during the communist era. Since our independence, before our independence, and only in 1989 we were able to declare Malaysia free of counter-insurgency. So how did we do it? By winning the hearts and mind, create employment opportunity. We even created a special area in the north part of Malaysia, what we call security special zone. We relocated these people from the jungle, put them there, give them house, give them employment opportunity, educate them. So this is the soft approach that we did in terms of winning the hearts and mind of the people. And Alhamdulillah, we were successful in doing that. You know, during the communist era, even our head of police in one of our states, if you look at our history, he was shot point blank at a traffic light during broad daylight by this communist insurgency group. And we caught this guy, went to his area, his house. Underneath his house, full of weapons. So, meaning what I'm trying to say here, they were able at that time, able to infiltrate our city. And they were trying to create havoc in one of the city states in Malaysia at that time. In the state of Perak. The city is Ipoh. This is where I came from. So I still remember during that time, because I was staying in an army area, because my mother, she was a nurse working in the army clinic. So what had happened at that time, these soldiers entered the jungle, tried to catch the communists, and he was shot. So I experienced myself at that time. I was still little, person who got shot, trembling, gasping for life, gasping for air, and I saw that with my own eyes. So I think Pakistan context is different. Your context is bigger. The threat is coming in from many parts in Pakistan. But rest assured that what you can do is probably you are doing it already now in terms of whole of nation approach. Community leaders, you were talking about the khutbah, Jumaat, during our prayer. That is being vetted by our religious body. What you need to say during religious sermon. What needs to be said, what needs to be done, what needs to be encouraged among the congregation of prayers that you have. We talk about Palestine, we talk about Afghanistan, we talk about minority Muslim being oppressed all over the world. The idea is to create some sort of awareness among our people. How lucky you are to be a Malaysian. How lucky you are to be peaceful nation, that you can talk to the non-Muslim in your country and work together for progressive nation. So this has already been inculcated in our minds since young. So this is ongoing, of course. The effort has to be ongoing. And we know our religious leaders, there were issues before. Our students, they went overseas to study Islamic teaching. They brought back radical elements. Even our young people, they went to Iraq, they went to Syria to join the Daesh, to join the ISK. And what we did through our intel, we brought them back. And when we brought them back, we don't leave them just like that, put them in prison, no. We condition back their mind to make them enter the society back as, rightful community of that place. We tell them what to do. We, we brainwash them. No longer ideology of a radical. And this is ongoing through the ministry effort, through the government effort, through the community leader effort. So I think Pakistan effort is doing well, and only thing you have to keep on persevering, keep on doing it over and over again. And I think the community leader level is very important because they are the nerve of the society. They know what is going on. I'm talking about the Maulana, the Imam, the religious leader in your community. Because in Malaysia, in our context, young people, they have this sense of adventurism in them. When we ask them, why you want to go to Iraq? Why you want to go to Syria? Even our girls were involved. Through YouTube, they were indoctrinated. They were recruited through the dark web, dark website. They got to know one guy from Syria, fall in love online, and wanted to go to, I think, Aleppo, wanted to go to Aleppo to get married. This is a real case. So our special branch stopped this lady from traveling because this lady was smart. She didn't go direct to Doha. She flew on her ticket. She wanted to fly to Brunei. Brunei only to Doha. Doha, they want to enter Syria. So we managed to stop this. Luckily, we managed to stop. This is one of the examples that I'm citing to you. So again, whole of government approach, winning the hearts and minds. Of course, you need to pump in a lot of resources, not only money, but time, efforts, and more importantly, the desire to change the society. That is very important. Thank you.
Yeah. His Excellency, thank you very much for the comprehensive lecture on Pak-Malaysian relations. My question is regarding the way forward. As you said that Malaysian businessmen have the perception reality problem with regard to the investment in Pakistan. So can you please put light on what specific hurdles they are experiencing while investing in Pakistan from our ministries? And is there any thought on establishing the structured mechanism to resolve their problems while their investments in Pakistan?
Okay.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Well, in terms of structured mechanism, we already have our ministry-to-ministry regular meeting that we conduct, which has to be reinvigorated, which has to be restarted. But in terms of reality and perception, business people, they see first security concern. This is what they've been telling. When they want to invest, for example, in the tourism sector, when we took them up to Monau, for example, when they saw AK-47 in front of them, for example, they have a jittery in their mind, anxiety, because our people not used to that. When you enter centers, you see guns wielding security. So that perception already there. Whether we like it or not, whether I like it or not, I'm telling you honestly as brother, because we are brothers and sisters here, okay? That is the perception. But I am trying to tell them reality is not like that, For example, when I want to go to Chasada to meet up with some Malaysian there were about 3 or 4 convoys, security, front, back. My car was in the middle. So that, again, is perception, you know. You have it in your mind, is this place safe? Why we need 3 or 4 convoy, all welding AK-47 and some Brown and Smith there? Why? So these are the things. But in terms of business, issue that we have now is in terms of LC. Maybe the company here is not sound enough. Our company not, confident enough. But trade relation is basically ongoing between our two countries. Those people who are optimizing the challenges, they can see the opportunities here. And they are doing it. I have a Pakistan-Malaysia Business Council regularly telling me they are, a couple of weeks back, they are in Lahore attending this health conference, health sector investment. So they are in and out. They are very familiar with Pakistan. Some key business people in Malaysia, they have a big property, land in Mansehra. Pakistan-Malaysia connection. Pakistan blood, but now Malaysian. So they are very familiar. They know how to operate in Pakistan. So that's not a problem. What we want to see is a bigger kind of approach, investment. That Pakistan, because I've been trying to brainstorm with my officer what we can do with Pakistan. You don't even have your own computer production here. While you have 240 million people, Pakistani are working in Silicon Valley. Why cannot you create made in Pakistan notebook? Why you have to use Acer, HP, what else? IBM. Why? When you give the notebook to the students here, it's all not made in Pakistan. You people can do it yourself. If you have the new technology, computer is nothing. The hardware is very simple. Even my son, who did not study computer, can assemble computer at home. We buy parts and bits here because he's into gaming. So we buy all sort of CPU, big CPU, we install it ourselves. Follow the instruction only. Pakistan, investment. What I see, business people, your diaspora in the UK, in America, needs to put the US dollar, the British pound here in Pakistan, rather than to buy property, rather than buy big apartments and leave it empty. You know, I went to Karachi just to share with you. I see a lot of empty houses in Karachi, and I asked them why. Well, the owners are not here. They are in the US. They are in Oregon. They are in Wisconsin, working there. In the house, old people staying, father and mother of the owner. So this is the dilemma of Pakistan, maybe, you know. A lot of people going abroad to have a greener pasture, but yet they are not confident enough to reinvest in their own country. It happens in Malaysia as well, but it happens in a bigger scale here in Pakistan. We don't have issue with Pakistan traders, no problem. We know Pakistan traders in and out because part of Pakistan is in Malaysia. Many Malaysians, they have Pakistani blood. They have their roots here. Even one of our special branch, if you look at her, you think she's Pakistani. I was amazed, but she was one of our security force, working with our police. She looks like Pakistani, but she's not Pakistani, she's Malaysian, of Pakistani blood. So in terms of the dynamism between our two countries, in terms of trade, what we can do is to have the trust, to do more. If you don't trust, you don't want to do more. It's limited. And now we have LC problem. Our company cannot send remit money back to Malaysia. It has to go through the third party or the third country, through Dubai, through Doha, something like that. And the political stability. From our experience, political stability play a very important role. This is why Malaysia, day in, day out, we tell our people, we tell our politicians, make the country politically stable. Don't create disharmony among the political parties. Only then you can do your agenda, do your policy, invite investors. So hopefully by the 8th of February, we can see some semblance of that in Pakistan as a way forward. And of course, your dynamics is not the same as in Malaysia, but we can see the similarity here. In terms of your agenda, anti-corruption, we also have big issue in terms of corruption in Malaysia. I'm sure you know one MDB case where kleptocrat, corruption, things like that. So much so now our former Prime Minister is now in prison because of that. So it doesn't stop at the lowest level. It goes up to the highest level. In our context, we want to combat, address the issue of corruption at the highest level. And Pakistan, what is happening now? You are doing the same. Yesterday, there were court ruling, 10 years slap to your former Prime Minister. So I cannot comment on that. That is your local scenario. But if you compare, it's about the same. One MDB and Toshakana and all this. What different is it? Maybe it's greed. We do not want to go into the details. Greed, the manner that you do that is not correct. So this is what happening. If you draw parallel, in tandem, Malaysia context and Pakistan context. If you go to Malaysia, maybe we are advanced in certain stage, but in Pakistan you are lagging behind in certain area. This is where we have to meet and try to leverage this. And we can assist you, and likewise Pakistan can assist us. Defense production, you are top notch in this region. Malaysia purchased some of your defense products here. And recently we had a meeting, we visited Taxila, high industrial zone, military zone. We saw how you can build the tanks from scratch. I do not know whether it's, what they call that, the certification. ISO. You see? Earlier it was not. After that you got your ISO certification. You see how ingenuine is your people in terms of creativity. So these are the things. Trade-wise, more interaction. We are inviting more business people to come here to look at Pakistan, what you can offer here. And for example, food security. You have ample production here, crops. One time, Malaysia, there was announcement by Malaysian minister. India banned importation or exportation of onion because not enough for domestic consumption. So where to go? China, Pakistan. Why we need to import more from India? We can import from Pakistan. You know, Pakistan also has that. I went to Okara. You have plenty of potatoes there. Why not import more potatoes from Pakistan? So it's more of interaction, confidence building measures. And the LC, all this impediment of trade needs to be resolved. And SIFC should be more amplified. Should be, put on the media. What achievement has SFIC gained so far? Apart from CPAT and all that, it has to go beyond that. CPAT is good, but it has to go beyond that. You need to think beyond CPAT. Regional grouping, for example, ASEAN, for example, there are many more opportunities rather than only to focus on CPAT for Pakistan, because you have to have approach of, broad-based approach rather than to put your eggs only in one basket. So that is how I see it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for answering the questions. We would move towards the concluding session. I would request President IPRI to please deliver his concluding remarks. Thank you.
To begin with, Excellency, I have nothing to offer as a counter argument. Whatever you said, it was very apt, very candid question answers, and you spoke from your heart. And let me tell you, it was very impressive. And when you see people sitting here, they are listening to you, and also you are live on YouTube. So there may be many more who would be listening to you. So very impressive, and thank you so much for being so candid. About Malaysia, I want to share my own personal thoughts. Number one, I said it before and I say it again. Luckily, Malaysia has had advantage of having the visionary, strong leaders. And your leadership ensured that there is political stability, there is internal stability, and there is sustained economic growth. I think hats off and lots of appreciation to you, the Malaysia, and about the leaders you said, the Tunku Abdul Rahman and then Mahathir Mohamad, I think, and the present leadership, they're all doing wonderful job, and wish you best for everything. About the potential of ASEAN, I think I would like to reiterate what you said, that presently ASEAN is having a business of about $11 billion with Pakistan. So it has potential to increase. And future lies, as you said, Excellency, in inclusivity and cooperation in trade and other things. I think there would be one thing which I must appreciate, that you made a mention of Gaza and Palestine and the human miseries which the Palestinians are facing in Gaza under the Israeli occupation forces, and the atrocities which are being committed or unproportionate use of force there. And we already have, I think, 26 to 27,000 casualties there, and most of them are women and children and civilians. As far as the combatants are concerned, the Hamas, I think it should be insignificant number that has been killed. Every country has a right to respond, but response has to be towards the militants or towards the forces or towards the combatants, but not the non-combatants. And I would like to flag another thing here, that is the Kashmir. Whatever is going on in Kashmir is also to be taken cognizance of. Both the countries, that is the Palestine and Kashmir, Pakistan and Kashmir issue and the Palestine issue, have multiple resolutions dating back to 1948. But all these resolutions have been shelved and they are not being respected. However, when the UNSC, the Security Council, or the bigwigs want to even distribute countries, create new countries, they can do it in months and years. But Palestine, people of Palestine, people of Kashmir and Pakistan await the action on this resolution. South Asian potential and cooperation, I think you are very right. South Asia needs to reconsider things, and you very diplomatically hinted at. Actually, it is Pakistan and India relation which are keeping South Asian progress and integration as hostage, which needs to be improved. And both the countries have to sit down, talk to each other, and resolve all these issues which are there. I think halal industry, it is a very big knowledge for me, and especially for the ladies, the halal cosmetics. I think it has a great potential in Pakistan. Yes, halal cosmetics at least, and all those girls who are sitting here, you can straightway start off the online business of the halal cosmetics, and you will be earning a lot of money there, apart from your pay here. Thank you so much for praising the Pakistan as a warm country with warm hosts. Yes, alhamdulillah. That is a tradition, the civilizational trait that we carry. About my personal experience about Malaysia, I would like to say I visited Malaysia multiple times. I remember having dinners in the Petrona and the moving restaurant, going to Jayaputra to say my Juma prayers. It's an excellent country, and the most important is that it is very well integrated, multicultural, tolerant, and very disciplined society. And as Excellency said, it has minimum crime rate, which is very appreciable. Personally, about the education, my wife is doing her MPhil in English from Nottingham University Malaysian campus. She has submitted her thesis already. She has done her defense also. It is about to be concluded, but I just wanted to say, yes, it is a good opportunity if you want to study in foreign universities and a little economical fee and living. Malaysia is the answer. And otherwise, Malaysia is a good place. When I used to visit Malaysia, many times I thought, why not shift here? Such a good country. So peaceful, so disciplined, so nice people.
You have to move IPRI there.
Yeah. But now I'm too old to move. About the question of director research and about the Malayan insurgency, I read it in detail, and I still have all the details right there in front of me. Like I studied just now, the Briggs plan. General Briggs gave a plan, and if you see, Pakistan almost emulated that plan. Shifting people from the militancy-prone area, creating new accommodations, intelligence-based thing, winning hearts and minds, and that is the answer, and that was a model. And Pakistan, after Malaysia, is one of the successful countries which has fought the insurgency effectively. Yes, there are reminiscences, there are some simmering areas, but as far as the insurgency as a whole is concerned, Pakistan has been, alhamdulillah, very, very successful. I think what needs to be appreciated, Excellency, again, is the effective governance in the country. If you have good governance in the country, if you're looking after the people, if you have good law enforcement agencies and good law enforcement, everything improves. So you are much better than us. I hope we can follow you, emulate you. And thank you so much for being with us, sharing your views with us. And I also take this opportunity to thank all of you, ladies and gentlemen, especially the excellencies, the representative of the diplomatic community from all over the world, for being here and honoring us with your presence. Thank you so much. God bless you all.